I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from Aggravating Scar 7518 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my mother-in-law redecorate our nursery?" So I, 26 female, am currently 32 weeks pregnant, with mine and my husband, Felix's 27 male first child. Things have been going well, and one of the great things is that Felix is a builder, and so everything with the nursery went pretty smoothly, pretty fast. We agreed at the start what kind of vibe we wanted to go with, and it's pretty much already done. Figured that we'd get it sorted as soon as possible, so it wasn't another thing to worry about later. My mother-in-law has always been a bit of a nightmare, but it's been better since the news that I'm pregnant, though not without issue. For example, she told me that I should lose some weight and that it wasn't healthy for me or the baby. She knows that I used to struggle with anorexia and I'm not any sort of unhealthy weight. In the past, I've kept my mouth shut and let Felix deal with her. As the nursery has almost been completed, she suddenly decided to invite herself around more. I work from home currently. She comes in on the regular, asks me when I'm going to have lunch, and "Oh, could you just pop me something in too?" And then we'll wander into the nursery and start rearranging things. I know this sounds stupid, but once she literally bought an IKEA bag full of stuff that she put in there. It doesn't match. But I've never said anything really beyond, "Oh, thanks so much for the thought," etc. Yesterday, when she came around uninvited, she looked me up and down and said, "Really? Joggers? Thank God Felix isn't here." And then walked into the nursery and started asking me where the pillow she'd put in the crib had gone, why I'd taken out the fairy lights hanging on the wall right by it, etc. I explained that they were potential safety hazards to the future baby and that I'd taken them out. She started with, "Oh, well, I've had 3 children, and I really think you should take more of my advice," and then looked me in the eyes and said, "You're really not going to be a good mother at this rate." I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones, but I just stared at her for a moment and then told her to get out of the house. I'd been up all night and had loads of work and wasn't in the mood. She got very uptight about it and then left. Felix says he's going to talk to her and tell her that she shouldn't be reorganizing anything without our permission. But I don't know if it was just hormones and I'm being unreasonable. Am I the arsehole? Absolutely not the arsehole at all. The bloody cheeky so-and-so walking into the nursery, rearranging things, keep putting stuff in there without talking to you. The comment she's making, I don't blame you at all. She should have been kicked out of that house long ago. And we all know what path this is going to go down, that Felix needs to step in and rein his mum in. I'm surprised she wasn't kicked out of the house with low contact or no contact after the lose some weight comment, knowing about your history with anorexia as well. That is absolutely awful. The potential damage that could have caused, it pisses me off, to be quite honest. But Trick Delivery says not the arsehole. Felix needs to put down a lot more boundaries. No more popping by when he isn't around. She has to ask him to come over and can only do so when he says yes and he is there. No more talking about your health or weight ever. No redecorating or moving anything in your house. I'm sure there needs to be more. This is to get you started with him. He needs to protect you and your child. Zato Zapato says exactly this. Felix needs to rein in mama now. Enfys May says not the arsehole. Felix needs to shut this down like yesterday. She's being openly disrespectful to you. She can no longer come over uninvited. She needs to call and schedule a visit like everyone else. Also, if she has a key to your home, change the locks. No more bringing unwanted items for the baby. While you appreciate the thought, you and Felix want to prepare the baby's room the way you want it. This is your baby. She had a chance to decorate how she wanted with her kids, and now it's your turn. No more passive-aggressive comments to or about you. If this isn't shut down, she will continue this around your child. She will talk badly about you around/to your child. This is disrespectful to you and should immediately be stopped. actions have consequences. If she breaks any boundary you and Felix have set, she won't see the baby for X amount of time. That could be days, weeks, months, or even a year, depending on how severe the boundary she broke was. You could even do it first offense X days, second X months, third permanent. This is something you and Felix need to sit down now and talk about. This blatant disrespect needs to stop, and it needs to stop immediately. This can't continue, if for no other reason than your mental health. She knows you have an eating disorder and is deliberately using it against you. What is her end goal? For you to spiral so she can tell everyone you're an unfit mother. That sounds psychotic. And one more comment from Lisa Bryan, who says, the mother-in-law is trying to assert power. She's putting things in the baby's room to put her claim on it and turn it into her own territory. Her disparagement of OP as a mother is an attempt to set herself up as the expert that OP will have to obey. She's also trying to tear OP down with those comments about her weight, attacking vulnerable spots to try and make her insecure and vulnerable to being shoved aside. Once these power games start, they rarely stop without hard boundaries and harsh consequences. OP needs to be prepared to cut off access to the baby the instant mother-in-law starts playing her little games, and only allow unmonitored interaction after a lot of trust has been built up, because she will try to drive a wedge between that child and OP via snide comments and emotional manipulation. So OP comes in with an update and says Felix and I sat down and had a conversation about how to manage his mother going forwards. I told him everything that she had said to me, and he was adequately furious with her. He asked me exactly what I wanted done in the future so that she'd understand where our boundaries are and follow them. I told him I'd rather him speak to her alone at first so that I wasn't immediately made out to be the bad guy. I acted on advice, and a locksmith has been called to change the locks on the house, and Felix has ordered us a Ring doorbell off Amazon with the assurance I'll be able to put it in. He hates doing the electrics, but you know how it is, I'll leave it to him. And then he called up mother-in-law and organised a lunch date for today so they could have a talk between themselves. He got back in the afternoon, and as he walked in the door, smiled at me and went, sorted. Characteristically, went to go make himself a cup of tea. I got a message a few minutes later from her saying she was very sorry for what she had said to me, that she was in the wrong. Only going to visit when invited, not going to go into the nursery anymore, and was going to respect the rules and boundaries that he and I set for our home life and for our child. And after added that she was sorry for the comment she'd made on my appearance. I'll believe it when I see it, but at least it's a good start. And we've all agreed to go for dinner at some point to talk about future expectations when the baby comes. I talked to Felix, and he said that she'd been offended at first, didn't believe she had done anything wrong. And he also specifically said she hit it with a spiel of, oh, I must have been an awful mother then. And he told me he told her, it's not about that. It's about you disrespecting my wife, our child, and our home. If you continue, you're not going to dream of being able to see your grandchildren. She was apparently and unsurprisingly sulky, and he told her to apologize. And she said she would, and to her credit, did. Thank you for all the advice on how to handle things going forward, with the locks and everything. The amount of support was crazy, but I can't thank you all enough. I feel so much calmer about the situation. I don't know if she's going to stick to what she said going forwards, but at least boundaries have been set, and I know that Felix has my back. On a lighter note to end, I asked if he had anything he wanted to say to the people who had commented, and he said, can you add that photo of me in Florida? Felix, that's not even slightly relevant. Shame. What do you want for tea? Thank you. Pegging Pinhead says, well, now I want to see Felix in Florida. Opie says, I told him this, and he replied, I know what the people want. Edit. I'll describe the photo, and hopefully somewhat satiate the people. It was when we were in the Florida Keys, and he's sitting on a comically large yellow wooden beach chair. Think 3 times the normal size of one. He's got relatively short, wavy brown hair. He's holding up a red spade in one hand and giving a thumbs up with the other, and has this stupidly big goofy grin on his face. He just finished making a sandcastle, which is somewhat visible in the background, and had sat down to have a rest. Bless him. He's also told me to add that he looks really fit, so do with that what you will. He's currently trying to figure out how to make a Reddit account so he can join in on the fun. His user is HelpfulLed3803. Lol. Radio Supply said, he's right. We want Felix tax. AK Shed,